Euroscapes project assembles 14 partners from 13 European countries. It intends to contribute to implement the objectives of the European Landscape Convention. The objective of Loures municipality within the project is to produce a management strategy plan for the most relevant cultural landscape of its northern territory. A deep fieldwork survey was set out in order to produce inventories and diagnoses on landscape and cultural heritage values. Queries and interviews were undertaken in order to involve the local population. 10 priority landscapes were identified, corresponding to those which kept a considerable integrity of values and have proven to be, by the historic interaction between man and nature, authentic cultural landscapes expressing Loures identity. From the small square of Vila Nova, one can observe a well-cultivated plain, extending itself till the small creek. The area is close to the west by the sloping hill covered by shrubbery oak, Portuguese oak, and dry cereal cultures. Leaving the village, to the north, one can find high-quality terrace walls made of stone. There are remains of an ancient olive press and old watermills. They are the memory of a time when the culture of cereals occupied the hillsides of the valley. Trancão River makes itself noticeable in the landscape by the vegetation of its banks. Ashes and poplar trees predominate together with Portuguese and cork oaks. Leisure estates recreate natural environments, configuring real landscape parks. The village of Feixial maintains a coherence between the urban fabric, the scale of the buildings, and the surrounding landscape. To the south, the scenery has great value with Picotus Hill visually dominating the landscape. Nearby, there is Torre de Cima medieval house, a 14th century very rare landmark. Bucelas vineyards and Bucelas wine constitute the strongest identity elements of Loures northern territory. The presence of vast domains of vineyards settled in production estates occasionally confers aesthetic value to the topography. Boição Valley has landscape value due to the uniqueness of its natural vegetation and the cultural path by the old watermills. The historic route of the defensive lines of Torres Vedras and its interpretation center in Bucelas are important added values to the understanding and fruition of this landscape. Hillsides are entirely divided by dry stone walls forming terraces. They witnessed a time when this was a very productive land for the culture of cereals. Large stone wells present a great quantity and imposing next to Barros Creek were meant to irrigate the vegetable gardens, which still exist vigorously along the valley. Traditional stone sheds with roofs of one single slope are scattered around the valley. Native vegetation in the process of regeneration covers both hillsides with gorse, shrubbery oak and orchid prairies. Dense riparian vegetation made of poplar trees, ash trees and willows. There is a stone watermill for 2 grinding wheels on the north bank of a creek. By the southern edge of the village there is the dolmen of Casainhos, a megalithic funerary monument which is a testimony to the antiqueness of its place. This is a very productive agricultural landscape where one can observe ancient irrigation systems composed by wells with ancient aqueducts and water basins. There are pastured areas for sheep and goats. Geomorphological heritage is outstanding, given the scenic spectacle of a karstic relief. All along the White Cornice, north of Penedo do Gato, a 17th century manor house imposed themselves into the landscape, conferring it great historic quality. Fields divided by remarkable vegetable hedges occupying the whole of the northern slope of Serra da Sardinha. Close to the banks of Pedinheiro de Loures River, there is an interesting system of small agricultural units. With their old houses and the ruins of the once sumptuous 16th century manor of Premialha, amidst rows of cork and Portuguese oaks. Val Nogueira, a very narrow valley running between hills of limestone, shows the splendour of its riparian vegetation, composed by ash trees, poplar trees and walnut trees. Geomorphological heritage is of great interest, forming a limestone cornice running along the Topeira hill. This relief of limestone is accompanied by natural vegetation. Showery oak and Portuguese oak predominate. Archaeological heritage includes the natural cave of Salemas, essential for the knowledge of Loures prehistory times. Like its name straightforwardly tells, this landscape is marked by omnipresence of water and by the evidence of its domestication by man throughout time, building wells, basins, thin canals and made of stone. There is an imposing wall to retain water. Along the paths, one observes great diversity of natural species. This landscape owes its scenic value to the geomorphology shown by the limestone relief, as well as the presence of the Tancão River. On the western hillside of the valley there is a remarkable cork tree wood. To the south, Quinta do Outeiro is a cultural heritage value, given the high quality of their built elements, the house, the well and the aqueduct.
Nós somos 7 irmãos, é que puxou para outra coisa, o resto foi tudo para o campo. E quem vai desenvolver isso? Quem vem para cá para trabalhar aí, para isto ter mais produção? Não faz falta no mercado. Sim, produção não faz falta no mercado, tem uma sobra. Que ser, porque se não fosse só à base dos braços, a gente não fazia quase nada. Antigamente não era. Tem que ser tudo com réguas e com tratores a fazer as coisas. Já há 20 e tal anos que não pago uma hora de serviço ali. Cheguei a ter isto de manhã, lá por cima, pagava a jornada. Depois uns velhotes morreram, outros prontos adoeceram, deixei de pagar a jornada. E vivi na mesma.
Olha, eu penso que quanto mais desenvolvimento há, pior está. Está complicado. Já se vê muito mais gente no campo do que se via. Porque há filhos que não têm emprego e encostam aos pais. Vão ajudando o que podem fazer, porque não aprenderam, nem andaram a estudar. A gente não estudou, então casamos.
Não, andava mais cortado.
Isto antes não havia tanto hoje, isto era tudo amanhã.
Andava mais cortado, sabe porquê? Porque havia muitos animais e depois apanhavam todos para pôr na cama dos animais. Depois era hortas, ali em cima onde é que eu fui criada também era um bocadinho de horta, dali daquele lado também era horta, dali também era tudo horta.
E por cima era tudo horta.
Por este tempo era uma alegria aqui a gente a gritar uns para os outros, a pôr sabor e a semear feijão, agora não se vê aqui ninguém. Ninguém quer campo, que o campo é duro.
A gente está velho, já não.
E as vendas estão muito ruins de vender.
Another component of the Euroscapes project deals with the involvement of local actors and stakeholders, population, schools, local associations, wine producers and many other entities. Their active participation was foreseen at public sessions that were organized in each of the boroughs involved in the project. After the conclusion of the work, Euroscapes project will end its mission in December 2012 by presenting a strategic document plan that will offer orientations for the management of these 10 landscapes, defining all necessary actions to implement, as well as the main actors and resources to be involved with. Necessary actions will include establishment of cultural paths or routes, maintenance and restoration of riparian galleries, maintenance of leaf edge and dry stone walls, restoring the diversity in forest settlements, enhance active agriculture and biological production, produce inventories and public information on cultural heritage, the protection of natural heritage and public dissemination of its values.